Welcome to Slippery Rock Sports Forum. I'm Madeline Williams, and alongside me are tonight's panelists, Tim Durr, Zach Smith, and Bill Kostkas. This is our first episode of the spring semester, so I'll remind everyone of how the rules work. There are 6 topics on each show that deal with SRU sports, other college sports, and professional sports. Each topic is given 4 minutes of time for the panel to discuss it, and I will give points to the panelists based on how well they answer each question. Okay, let's begin tonight's show. Last night, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the New York Jets in the AFC Championship to bring it back to the Super Bowl for the 8th time in team history. Bill, what are your thoughts on the game and the Steelers' victory?
Well, I think since it's their 8th trip to the Super Bowl, which, by the way, ties an NFL record held by the Dallas Cowboys, that they're on the verge of becoming one of the best franchises, not just the NFL, which they arguably probably already are, but in sports. Another important issue is Ben Roethlisberger. I think if he's able to beat Green Bay and Dallas in 2 weeks on the 6th, I don't think it's a 2-horse race in terms of top 5 quarterbacks anymore. You know, everyone has Breeze and now Rodgers and Manning and Brady obviously up top. I think if Ben wins this one, that means we're not just talking about Brady and Manning alone anymore. I think we have to mix Ben in there with him.
I think to go a little bit deeper into the game, I think that what really solidified the game for the Steelers was the fact that they were able to come out with their very first drive, take about roughly 9 minutes off the clock, and really just deflate the Jets. They went up 24-0 in the first half, and then the Jets stormed back in the second half, 19 unanswered points. The Jets necessarily didn't lose the game. They just ran out of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like I'll touch on both your points. I'll touch on Bill's first. First year, the Steelers, 8 Super Bowl wins. I'm not a Steelers fan, but you can't argue they're the best franchise in football history and maybe in sports history. They got to be considered with like the Red Wings, Lakers up there with those types of teams. Then about Big Ben, I think he's already taken his place above Peyton Manning in terms of winning and being just a solid quarterback. But he's up there now where he could arguably tie Brady with both having 3 Super Bowl rings and a short time span of 5 years. So that's something that definitely moves him up there. Now, to talk about the game, like you said, that first drive, Zach, that really deflated it. That did everything for them. And you can kind of blame that on the Jets because the Jets won the coin toss. They chose to defer to the second half, and the Steelers came up with that 9-minute drive together, and that really changed everything. Mark Sanchez was deflated. He had the momentum going at first, and then he got out on the field, wasn't ready for it, turned the ball over a couple times. They just didn't play a good game. They tried to make a comeback in the second half. I think if LT is able to score on that 4th down play, it changes the game completely.
As you put it on, they decided to defer after the coin toss, which is odd knowing that when they played at Heinz Field in Week 15, that Brad Smith took the opening kickoff back home. So, why go vice versa this time around? And as Tim touched on, LT on the 4th and 1 for the goal line that they didn't get in on. That whole series inside the 5 wasn't characteristic of the Jets at all. They threw twice and they tried this inside slant, which was almost picked off by Lamar Woodley. You're the big bad Jets. The biggest kid on the block. You're physical. You're tough up front. Line up with Sean Green and pound it home 4 straight times. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think they would definitely have gotten it in there, and that would have probably taken the game to overtime. It would have been a touchdown game. There's a good chance they were going to stop the Steelers. There was more time left on the clock. They could have held the Steelers, gotten the ball back, and ended up taking the game to overtime. We would have got to see how those new overtime rules look. And we're going to talk about the team the Steelers will face, the Packers here. We're going to talk about the NFC Championship game in a moment, but I think that's going to be a very interesting matchup. We'll touch more on that whenever we're talking about the NFC Championship game.
I think, as you guys both mentioned, that the momentum in the game is, it's a playoff, definitely a playoff atmosphere game, high intensity, everything. All the talk, the Jets against the Patriots, all that. Rex Ryan had high hopes for them to get in the playoffs, get in the Super Bowl, excuse me. They just weren't able to do it. I think a lot of it's inexperience. I really don't think that they really had that big game experience as most teams have in that position. So,
I think we just got to face this in the annals of NFL history. There's some guys that just aren't meant to even play in the Super Bowl. We almost thought it with Jerome Bettis, although I still don't think he deserves his XL ring. But LaDainian Tomlinson, I think that's why he was in on that play. They had to give him the glory, earn your way to pave your own way to the Super Bowl. That's what they want to do. That's why they took out Sean Green. He's always hurt when it came down to San Diego. And Jason Taylor's another guy who's just not meant to play.
All right, here's the scores. Bill, you have 5, Tim, you have 4, and Zach, you have 3. All right, now let's turn to the other NFL game that was played yesterday. The Green Bay Packers won the NFC Championship over the Chicago Bears 21-14 to take the Packers back to the first Super Bowl since '97. Zach, let's hear your thoughts on the game.
My take on it was they weren't as dominant as they were against the Falcons the previous week. They only won 21-14, and they came out great. I thought it was going to be a blowout, so I actually took a nap myself and figured I'd catch a Steeler game a bit later. But as I mentioned earlier about the playoff experience, the last time the Packers as a franchise have been to the Super Bowl was 13 years ago, and that was off back-to-back years with obviously the great Brett Favre at the helm. With that said, I think that my Super Bowl prediction is the Steelers edge it out by 35-21. That's my take. It's just a lack of big game experience. Although I am rooting for Donald Driver, so I mean I'll still take the Steelers, but I think the Packers would be a great story if they were able to win it.
All right, I'll dive into the NFC Championship game a little bit first, give my prediction later. That was a sloppier game. It reminded me a little bit of how the Ravens-Steelers game went last week a little bit, where it was just kind of up in the air, sloppy game. That's how a lot of these playoff games have been. And I think it was just Jay Cutler. I don't know. They say he tore his MCL and everything now, but he was kind of his demeanor on the sidelines in that game. I think if he would have been pumped up, if he would have been behind Caleb Haney whenever he came in there as third-string quarterback, kind of rooting him on and stuff, the Bears had plenty of chances to come back and win that game. Urlacher had a huge interception that really kept them in the game, and they pulled it within a touchdown there late, and then just weren't able to convert on that fourth down. But the Packers are going to have to play like they did against Atlanta, and the Steelers are going to have to play a complete game if they want to win the Super Bowl. So I'll let you talk, then we'll come back to my prediction.
I don't think it matters. We could sit here and nitpick all day. Oh, well, so-and-so played sloppy in this half or this quarter. I think of the 4 teams that were left, they all deserve to be there. My dad always told me, going back 10 years ago, you just don't sneak into your conference title game. If you made it just far, you're pretty good. I think Green Bay, you saw how electric their offense can be, and they were for the first half. But we could give a break to Aaron Rodgers. It's his first NFC title game. Same with Jay Cutler, but I think that's such a big deal today. You have all the NFL guys on Twitter calling him out yesterday, and I think I saw clips of fans even burning number 6 jerseys up in Chicago. Guy had a torn MCL. If you actually look at some accounts of some players with this injury, they can't even stand on it. But he's always been criticized for his demeanor. He looks on the sidelines and just like that calm shrug. He does it all the time. He's done it in Denver. I mean, this really isn't news. It just so happened that this all happened yesterday with the Super Bowl on the line.
Yeah, well, I think in that case, though, that's a time when you need to step up and show that you're a leader. He's evidently not a leader, so that's why his team's on in the Super Bowl. So, I'll throw my little piece in there at Jay Cutler. Not a big fan of him, really. So
I'm not a big fan either.
Yeah. I'm glad to see the Packers there. They played hard, and they were kind of that team all year. I thought they had a chance. I kind of lost my faith in them a little bit when they struggled, but they picked it up right before they, week 16, week 17, they were must-win games for them. They've been playing playoff football for about 6 weeks now, so they were kind of, already in form. And now that they head into the Super Bowl, I think Aaron Rodgers, there's going to be some shakes there at the beginning, kind of have to work it out a little bit, but I believe the Packers are going to beat the Steelers and win the Super Bowl. But I believe it all comes down to Aaron Rodgers, like I just said. If he has a solid game, he's able to have 28 for 35, 3 touchdowns, maybe even throws an interception in there. I think they are still going to be able to pull away with the win.
Yeah, but it's possible because you always have what happened in the Ben Roethlisberger in his first Super Bowl. He's now the worst-rated Super Bowl quarterback ever because of that game. But yeah. I still think the Packers are a nightmare matchup for Pittsburgh. I mean, good Lord, B.J. Raji's playing like a monster, and then we might not have Marquise Pouncey for Pittsburgh. I saw a stat a couple weeks ago. I think the Green Bay led the NFL in scoring defense. The last 2 times they did that, they won the Super Bowl. So,
yeah. So what's your prediction? I know you're going Steelers.
I think Green Bay wins.
All right, we're sticking with football for our third topic of the night. This time we're taking it back to Slippery Rock football and the transfer of UConn quarterback Cody Enders and his dismissal from the UConn program. Tim, what do you think Enders will offer to the Rock defense for 2011?
Well, first off, I just want to say that the reason that he's not in UConn anymore was he tested positive for some type of chemical substance. He was dismissed from the football program. He could have gone back to the school for the 2011 season, but it was his final year. He most likely wasn't going to start. So he ended up coming to Slippery Rock, which is, he dropped down to a Division II program, so he'd be eligible for his senior year. And I think he can bring a lot to this team. He hasn't played a lot. I know in the 2010 season, he had 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, I think close to 500 yards in 3 games. Then, he was dismissed from the program and everything. So he comes here, and it's a type of offense that he's used to running. It's more of that wider offense. I know that I've talked to Coach Mahalik, and he said they want to get a little more of the passing game going in this upcoming season. That was something they struggled with. But it's going to be open. I talked to Coach Mahalik personally. He said it's going to be open. Ryan Sabo's still going to be able to compete for the job, and we're going to see what happens.
Well, with this is pretty big news actually. I mean, they're gonna have a gunslinger back there. He's gonna playing against athletes at the Division I level, no matter what conference. Still a pretty big deal, and I think he'll be able to offer a great second option. If the running game isn't working, they'll let him sling it. I think the key for him is just to move on, to forget about the past, forget about what all took place at UConn, and move on from there and try to help this team, get a PSAC title berth.
If you look at this kid's numbers, it's hard to tell, what this team's getting. I mean, UConn is a run-first team, and they have been the last 3 or 4 years. If you look at his numbers, yeah, they're all right. He hasn't thrown a lot because of what system he was in, but I think the last 2 years, last year he played in only 3 or 4 games, but he had a rating of like 125, and the year before that was like 149, and I think he started the whole season. But if Mahalik says he wants to open up the passing game more, I think in Sabo you already had that. I mean, last year was his first full year of starting. You're going to have those hiccups, and I think this might be another case of, and I say this in the NFL all the time, everyone's looking for the next big-time rookie quarterback. And you got to go through the growing pains with young guys, and I think that's what Slippery Rock football needs to do. You've got the right guy that can throw the ball. Why bring someone in to hinder that process? I just don't understand.
Yeah, do you think he's taking a risk by coming here? And risking he leaves UConn to be eligible for a senior year. Does it make sense? Is he even in real contention for the job now that Bill brings up that point?
I honestly believe he's starting. Without a doubt, he's going to start. I don't think it's smart because you have Ryan Sabo, who's a young quarterback. You have a couple years left with him. You can really develop him into something special. But I think it's kind of like everybody's looking for what's the trend right now? Cam Newton comes out 1 year of eligibility with Auburn, takes him to the national title. They win the championship. He gets a Heisman Trophy, has a fantastic year. Well, everybody's not as talented as Cam Newton. This kid might be very talented. He might be able to do some great things, but I think in the long run, you're hindering, progress down the line. Are you going to give up, you're going to go for one big shot year here and give up maybe your next 2 years down the road because Ryan Sabo is going to have to get back into the offense, back into the groove. And if he might sit out or something like that, might consider transferring or something if he's backup quarterback behind Enders, saying, well, maybe they don't care about me that much because they bring this kid in and start him over me.
I think what we're going to find out is how the Akeem Satterfield situation is going to play into this because given his situation, is he going to be suspended? We don't know yet. He might be. So if you're Mahalik, are you thinking of going to some kind of passing an offensive attack that's more heavy with passing?
Yeah, they might have to.
Could this have played into that decision?
Yeah, they might have 3-4 games, maybe longer than that, without Satterfield. Or maybe try run type of spread offense. Do something like that, spread it out. This kid has a heck of an arm. I've looked at stuff online, talked to the coaches, and they said that this kid, he has a very strong arm. He can fire the ball down the field. So that's something they're really going to look at with Cody. So we'll see what happens.
All right, 3 topics are done, and we'll be right back after the short commercial break. Welcome back to Slippery Rock Sports Forum. The score, Tim, you are currently in the lead with 11, Bill, you have 10, and Zach, you have 9. Now we'll turn our attention to the 4th topic of the night, Slippery Rock men's basketball. The boys are 12-6 and are coming off a weekend loss to Mercyhurst. As we head down the final stretch of the season, what can we expect from SRU? Zach, you can start this topic off.
Honestly, I I really can't say. I mean, their play's been inconsistent. Over the break, they were 7-2. They're 12-6 for the year, 6-1 at home, 5-4 on the road. So, I mean, their best bet's to stay at Memorial Fieldhouse if they want to have some legit contention in the PSEC as far as conference play goes. But what I really don't understand is how they beat Clarion by 10 at home, yet go and lose to Mercyhurst and by a double-digit margin.
Yeah, it's like 20-some points.
Yeah, by 20-some points. And, Clarion early ranked second in the PSEC preseason projections. I really just can't get a feel for this team. They're up and down. You're getting different contributions from each player, each game, it seems. I really just don't know. I think if they are able to, compete and somewhat stay consistent down the line, I think they'll have an okay finish to the year. A lot better than most people thought.
Yeah, I think that they're kind of hanging around where we predicted them at the beginning of the year. They were in that middle pack rating at the beginning for the PSAC, and I think that's kind of what they're showing us right now is they're inconsistent. They can beat the average teams. Whenever they get a team that's ranked high, they get it against Clarion, IUP. It'll be interesting to see what they do against Cal on Wednesday. I think that's going to be a real defining moment in their season. You lose against Cal, then you're just kind of accepting that you're an average team. If you come out there, play a good game, you're able to beat Cal, maybe you say, we can compete with the big boys. We've just had some shaky games in the past. But I think they're working toward a consistent run. If they can get consistent, roll off a couple wins down the stretch, might be able to get in the playoffs, get a decent seeding or something like that. But I think right now that's the main thing they have to do is just focus on being more consistent, focusing on what got them to that point, what got them through that 7-2 stretch. There's going to be the big games they have to play, and they're going to have to play hard to get through those games, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, they right now they're sitting at 2-2 in PSAC West play. Like Tim said, that's exactly where we thought they would be at this point, and that's probably where they're going to hang. I mean, who are we kidding? I don't think anyone's going to finish at IUP. When Slippery Rock went up there, I mean, they got throttled. I think that Webb scored 30 points. He's probably the best player in the conference. And that win was IUP's 30th straight win at home. So who are we kidding? Anyone could go up there and get beat on. But I still think if we look at this team, they don't have anyone that can take them over for a stretch of 5 or 6 games and score doubles every night. We thought maybe someone like Jabril Bailey, who did it for a couple games, in the non-conference part of the season, but so far, since December, we haven't seen that. And I think that's the one flaw of this team. They need someone like that Dwayne Wade from Marquette. They can just put the team on the back, put 25, 30 points down every night. They just don't have that yet. Can that arise on the horizon? Hopefully. Yeah, because they have guys like Brown and Bailey that can do it. That's a problem. It's just consistency.
Doesn't this sound a lot like whenever we were talking about football? The bar was Cal in football, the bar is IUP in basketball. Mm-hmm. Slippery Rock, they just can't get over that bar. And that's what it comes down to is they're
a big gap.
Yeah, they're just not at that level. There's that one team in the PSAC that stands out. And it seems like it's that way with a lot of different sports where there's one team that really is able to stand out with their program and everybody else is just chasing them down. And this year Slippery Rock showed in football that they fell short of that mark. And in basketball, they're showing the same thing. They can beat these lower teams, Lock Haven, team like that. But whenever they come up here, you got to play IUP, Clarion, Cal. They're struggling with those big games.
That's what you're supposed to do when you play those, bottom feeder teams. You're supposed to pound them in the submission. I mean, they're doing that right. I mean, it's not like it's a total disappointment.
Yeah, but I think they're better than 30 points worse than IUP.
Honestly, I didn't see the win from them beating Clarion coming. Honestly, I didn't see it, and yet Clarion turns around and beats IUP. Yeah. So that's like the PSAC West right now is just kind of. The whole conference is inconsistent. I mean, SRU gets hammered by IUP, and then, they beat Clarion. I mean, granted, Slippery Rock beat Clarion before that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It's just right now, it's just a mix, and consistency is going to be the key for them finishing out.
Okay, Tim, you're currently in the lead. You have 13, and Bill and Zach, you both have 12. With 2 topics left, we're going to head back to football for the night. This time, we will talk about the developments around Brandon Fusco that developed over break. Over the winter recess, Fusco was invited to the Senior Bowl NFL Combine and received several awards for being an outstanding center at SRU. Tim, what is Fusco's draft potential, and what does this mean for the program like SRU to gain national recognition?
Well, I think for Fusco, first off, it's just fantastic that he's the first SRU player to be invited to the Combine or the Senior Bowl. He's the 4th ever PSAC player to be invited there. He won all kind of different awards. He won the Remington for Best Center, Division II level, won the Gene Upshaw Award for Best Lineman at the Division II level. He's an outstanding player. I know on NFLDraftScouts.com, he's ranked as the number 5 center, and I know a lot of other people, he's pretty much top 5 in all categories for centers. So I think that he's definitely going to get drafted. Where at, it kind of depends on the needs for teams. I can see something like between 4th round to maybe 5th, 6th, depending on what the needs are. You know, he might jump ahead of some of those guys. He might be 2nd, 3rd. Depends how he plays at the Senior Bowl and the Combine. He can come out, play fantastic, move up to the number 3 center. He can be, late 2nd round.
I think you pretty much hit the head on the nail there. I think a lot of things you could always link it, hey, it's going to boost recruiting. Yeah, it sounds cliche, but that's basically what it can do. If you get a guy, if he's the 5th ranked center, you're pretty much in the club. You're getting drafted. You're at least in camp come end of July. It's up to you to actually make a team, but that would depend on what situation he ends up in. That's a discussion for another day. He's been a beast here, and kids in high school can look at that and say, hey, I might not be the best player in the state or, on my team, but I could go to a Division II school and maybe actually make it to the NFL.
First off, I'd like to send a congratulations to you, Brandon. It's an amazing accomplishment, as you said, the first Slippery Rock student to ever be invited to the NFL Combine. As you mentioned, you basically stole my whole argument. Thanks, Tim. I look for Brandon to, the Senior Bowl is going to be big for him. It's going to be a key. The Combine, to a degree, kind of, it was not really going to move your draft stock up. They just want to see how you perform in workout situations. Whenever you put on the pads and play against, your peers and kids that are in the same position as you, I think that's going to be great for him. And as you said, mid 5th round, 6th round, taking it in the draft. Also, as you mentioned, he's in some good company. Jahari Evans plays for the Saints. He came out of Bloomsburg, actually named an All-Pro today. Reggie Wells from Clarion, he played in the Super Bowl against the Steelers. Everyone remembers that. And John Kuhn, he's going to be suiting up against the Steelers actually for the Packers. Came out of Shippensburg. He's a fullback. He's been a big part of their offense. So congratulations to you, and best of luck. Continue to do the things you've done to get in this position, and hopefully, we'll see you on TV someday.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's worked hard. He's got to this position. He's been down in Florida training, down in Bradenton, Florida, since I think early December. He actually, over the past few years, did some things where he took extra credits so he would graduate in the winter, so he would be able to go down and do stuff like this and have this opportunity. So now that he has this opportunity, he's down there making the most out of it. And that's what it really comes down to. The Senior Bowl, he's playing with guys who are going to be number 1 picks, first-round picks. He's going to be playing with. He's going to be snapping the ball to these elite quarterbacks. I'm not sure exactly which quarterbacks are playing in the Senior Bowl. I haven't looked at the entire roster or anything, but it's going to be main top guys like Blaine Gabbert from Missouri. Who's going to be snapping the ball to guys along that line. Is who he's going to be on the field with. He's
going to be going up against the Nick Fairleys of the world.
Yes,
so
you're really going to see a test.
Just because he's 5th on the board right now, projected to go in the 5th or 6th round, that's what the Senior Bowl and this Combine stuff's for, is anyone could move so far up or down the boards. I think with him it's anywhere but up. So, he could be drafted in the 3rd, maybe 4th round, even if he has a great Combine, and maybe we could see him starting in the NFL next year. I just have one request. At least consider playing guard so you could come to Pittsburgh and stay home and play, because their line's dropping like flies.
But back to the implications here. Never mind, we run out of time.
Okay, we'll take a look at the scores. Zach, you have 16, and Bill and Tim, you both have 15. Now we're down to the final topic of the night. We're going to talk about the trade of Denver Nuggets, Carmelo Anthony, having been cycling around for a few weeks, and it seems that they have come to a standstill after a proposed 3-team trade fell through. Bill, what are your thoughts of the situation?
Well, I'm going to say again every time we talk about the NBA, I think it's a circus. And anything that plays music while the guys are playing on the court is not a real sport, in my opinion. But this has been going on for at least a year and a half now. And this even goes way back to the LeBron James leaving Cleveland thing, because there was a chance that the New York Knicks would work out a deal for Carmelo, and that he would play with Amari Stoudemire, but that ended up falling through. what jumps out to me is we all heard Kobe calling the Denver fans an idiots for, were they booing Melo the other night or something while he was doing a post-game interview? Well, did he not call them out and said he said he wanted to leave? But I think Melo's a tool. I mean, what does he contribute other than just pumping threes?
Oh, I think Melo's a solid player. He's definitely up in that top tier, at the bottom of the top tier. He's definitely not LeBron, Kobe quality, not Dwayne Wade or anything like that. But he's a star out in his city, and I really think he should stay in Denver. Like, come on, Carmelo. You got fans out there. You had a supporting cast. You had a bunch of people around you that were decent players. You're better off there than you would be with the Knicks or the Nets. Those teams are both a lot farther off than Denver. And, I appreciate what you got. That coach, George Karl, he just made it through his second bout with cancer. Defeated through there. Comes back coaching this team. And you're so selfish that you're complaining about making more money to go play with another team. I understand, he said he wants to go to his hometown with the Knicks and everything. Dude, suck it up, play in Denver, and just try to win a championship there. And maybe if you shut up and focus on the game, you'll play a little better and have a better chance.
Well, the Nuggets might end up out of luck with this thing because, they basically are now, because he's going to hit the free agent block and choose where he wants.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, and nowadays, trades with big name players it's not the trend. That's just doesn't happen anymore because these guys want to choose where they want to go, where they want to play. With that said, with you saying about his supporting cast, he has a great supporting cast, and I don't understand why players in the league don't want to make names for themselves in cities that haven't really been relevant. When have the Nuggets been relevant? Last time was Alex English, maybe. I don't even know if that was relevant.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, way back then, and it just doesn't. I just don't understand why they want to team up and go play with whoever or whatever. It just makes no sense. But J.R. Smith, Chauncey Billups, all those guys in the Nay, they're great supporting cast. Yeah. I mean, I think maybe even LeBron could have won a title out there. I don't know. Anyway, the trade's just been, all these talks have just been causing problems. Rip Hamilton's sitting out because of it. The Nets are just, they're just lost as a franchise right now. I think Jay-Z's still trying to, get some ownership in that, moving to Brooklyn. They're not even worried about their games, I don't think. I think they're worried about their new arena in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of taking a break until they get to Brooklyn, and maybe they'll try there.
Yeah, I just don't understand. And what caused it was, like you were saying, his selfishness. He didn't want to sign a deal with the Nets, and he just, just kind of, they just. I understand it's their career and they have a choice of where they want to go, but nowadays they're just being too picky. It's, well, you're not deep enough. I need to play with this guy because I work out with him in the summer. As you said, just suck it up, deal with it, make a name for yourself in Denver.
I think he's made a name for himself in Denver already. Denver's relevant since he's played there. They've been to playoffs. They're, I think, 6-7 games over 500. They're only a couple games back of the tops in the being in good playoff contention in the West. So I think you kind of made a name for yourself. You have something going in Denver. If you focus more on basketball, they might be 10 games above 500. They might be, number 3 seed quality. They've been in the playoffs before. It's something that, like you said, why wouldn't you want to build a franchise there in Denver? Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to go to one of the coasts, play for one of the big name teams on the spotlights. And that's what, I agree with Bill to a certain extent that basketball, it's not even really a sport anymore. It's like a fashion show and like a rap concert or something out there at the same time. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
Okay, the winner of tonight's challenge, Tim, you actually won, but the score was.
It's a surprise. He
it
won
was
4 in a row.
Yeah,
I'm
what am I, 3-2 now?
Oh my god.
Over 500. I didn't win 4 in a row. Bill won on the last one.
Me and Bill can't.
Well, the score was pretty close. You ended up with 19, and then you two both had 18, so it was pretty close. Now you can get some time to say whatever you want.
All right. Really didn't have anything prepared for this FaceTime. I don't know. Just didn't think I was really going to win on this one. So I just want to say that a shout out to everybody.
Just go ahead and rip the Steelers. You know you want to do it.
I don't want to rip the Steelers.
I won't get mad.
Honestly, I hope the Steelers have a great game in the Super Bowl. I hope it's a good game. I don't care who wins. I just hope it comes down to the end. I hope it's not one team scores 40 in this half, the other team scores 35 in that half, and whoever scored the most in the first half wins.
That's not the overtime system.
I'm getting tired of seeing that type of football.
That'd be the first Super Bowl to go to overtime.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. I just want to see a close game. That's really all I want to see. And I hope everybody had a good winter break. So that's all I really got to say.
All right. Thank you for watching Slippery Rock Sports Forum. See you next time.